Hey guys, how you're going? I hope you are absolutely fantastic, and I hope you're ready for today's video, which is actually brought to you by Bazza. Do you know who Bazza is? This is Bazza. I feel like Bazza is a bit of a rebel because my entire face used to be absolutely covered in pimples, like legit sore, cystic, horrible, oh my god, don't ever want to see the world again kind of acne, right? But now, since being on Accutane, a lot of it's gone away. However, I still have a lot of redness. I still have Bazza. So today's video is all about how to cover redness and pimples with makeup. First things first, hair up. It's summer here now and my room is officially a sauna. Let's talk about concealers. Depending on how red the marks are on your face or how prevalent they are, like how many you've got, you might feel comfortable just going straight ahead and using a normal concealer and then putting your foundation on, and that might be fine. But what if you want to do a little bit more and you want to cover spots like this one here, which is so annoying? Enter the green concealer, or well, this one here is actually a correcting primer. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that too. To counteract all of this redness that's going on here, you actually add the opposite color on the color wheel. Can I get a little graphic up here? Maybe I can be smart enough and put a little graphic. So what we're going to be doing today is using a correcting primer. This one's by Mira-Ness. It's a color corrector, so you can apply it over your whole face and will correct lots of different issues, but I just want to focus on the redness today. So I'm going to dab this on to that redness. It's calming down that redness. You can probably see that my skin is already, it's almost like it looks less inflamed. But what if you don't have your entire face covered in redness like I do? What if you do just have like a little spot like this? That's where something like a concealer or just using a small brush with your primer can come in really, really handy. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that green to my brush like that. And I do recommend that you use a brush and not your fingertips, just because if you do have active acne, then it's best to try and reduce bacteria as much as possible. And you just dab that on. Be real gentle. Blend that concealer out at the edges so you don't just have a gigantic green spot on your face. Got a little bit of extra pigmentation here too. And up by my eye for some bloody reason. This next bit you might not need to do all that often, maybe only if you've got quite a large spot, it's really red, it's causing you a lot of problems, and that's applying a little bit of concealer. Now usually with concealers you would apply these actually on top of your foundation. This is just in those cases where you just need that extra little security blanket, do you know what I mean? And I'm just using the DB Take Cover Mineral Concealer, and this one is in Nude. Now concealers usually do come with a Dove tip applicator like that, but that can maybe be a little bit too much product, and like, again, bacteria, it's probably a better idea that you either put some of this maybe on the back of your hand. You can use your little brush and go in there and apply it. Some concealers also are a little bit thicker than others. So it's probably a good idea if you sort of build it up instead of going in with a lot and then just trying to deal with that situation. Just really gently build it up until you get the effect that you want. And again, just going real gentle, blend out those edges and make sure it's got a nice smooth finish. Next up is foundation. Now, you're very lucky because these days there are so many different foundations on the market and you can get really awesome medium to full coverage ones. Try before you buy, get some samples, see which ones you like the most. At the moment, I'm really digging this one here by In Clinic. It's their Perfect Base Mineral Matte Liquid Foundation. I've got the one in Ivory. It's pretty close to my skin tone. Maybe it's just a wee bit too light, but it's not such a big deal. Now, in terms of application, some of you might be big fans of buffing your foundation in, but if you've got acne and you've got a bit of redness, then it might not be the best way to go, especially if you've just done all this concealing. You can go in with a flat paddle brush. This is so old school, guys. This is super old school. So you can use a flat foundation brush and apply the foundation to your face in that way and just go real gentle. But I would prefer to actually use a sponge. Get your little damp beauty blender or your Real Techniques sponge if you're on a bit of a budget like me. Just go real gentle, especially if you've got lots of active acne and it's causing you a few dramas. Just go gentle. And when it comes to covering up big pimples with your foundation, just go real gentle and dab, dab, dab. This would be the point where if you want to go all Kim Kardashian and put on full-on concealer under your eyes and do the whole sort of, you know, highlighting thing, this is the point that you would do that. I'm just going to do a little bit of concealer under my eyes, not a whole lot. And because I'm not going to be using this on any active acne, I'm just going to use the concealer straight up. Well, that's not playing very well. Sometimes when you're making videos, things just don't work out. I'm just having to go over that concealer a bit because it's not gelling very well with my foundation, unfortunately. I quite like DB products, but that concealer is a no from me. So, Bazza, he's pretty much out of the picture, which is amazing. Goodbye, little pimple. And a lot of this redness has been taken out of my face as well. Now, if you've got like a medium to full coverage foundation, your next step might just be a bit of translucent powder over your face and you're good to go. But for me, and maybe you too, I like just that wee bit of extra coverage, and it is important to set your makeup too. So I'm just going to go in with my usual Australis Fresh and Flawless pressed powder. This is Deep Natural, and fluffy brush as well. Just in terms of application of your powder, I know this is one of those things that people tend to buff in as well, but again, it's really important that you're not buffing, you're just kind of dotting, you're stippling and applying it in that way. Next up, you probably want to be applying things like bronzer and blush and highlighter and la-di-da-di-da, all those sorts of things. Maybe you don't. It's your prerogative. Stick to matte products where possible, because if you've got bumpy skin, if you've got pimples, if you've got any kind of uneven texture to your skin, then adding anything shiny and shimmery is just going to highlight all of those bumps and lumps and textures and things. You don't want to draw attention to the fact that you've got all this acne, right? You don't want to draw attention to unevenness. So yeah, try to go with matte where possible, and if you want to use just a wee bit of highlighter, then make sure it's not one of those super duper chunky glittery ones. My final tip, and that is try and distract the eye. If you've got pimples that are around your mouth, around your jaw area, then you want to try and attract the eye away from that. Therefore, doing maybe a really heavy, bold eye will pull the eyes towards that area and away from the rest of your face. I think the very last thing that I would say to you about your makeup is, oh God, I feel like my face is sweating so much right now. Oh, sorry, this is like really, oh, I just can't help it. So apply a little bit of fixing spray, so just like a makeup setting spray. There's things like, you know, Skindinavia, Urban Decay, gabla gabla. They're basically everywhere these days. So if you really want your makeup to stay stuck all day, then spray yourself with one of those. If you got any info out of this, please show me your support by throwing your little thumbs at it and maybe subscribing, or, you know, leaving me a comment and saying hello. And guys, I look forward to catching you next Thursday. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day, and I'll talk to you then. Mwah. Bye.